Welcome back everyone to Flamingo Predictions. We are back with round 25 of the EPL, and today I'll be sharing with you all my favorite predictions for the upcoming games. Plus, we'll be looking at the top games from the Spanish La Liga as well. In last week's video, I made 8 predictions from La Liga and the FA Cup ties, and I'm very happy to say that I got all of them right, bar one, where I predicted Rayo Vallecano to beat Valladolid by 2 goals or more at home, and they only won that game 1-0. But all in all, a fantastic week, and I hope you all benefited from my predictions. And this week, I'll be hoping to go one better and get them all right. So be sure to stick around to the end of the video, where, as always, I'll be sharing with you my top 3 safest predictions for the upcoming weekend of action, plus my juicy mega multi. And to make sure you don't miss out on any of my future predictions, and to let me know that you're enjoying these videos, then please do me the small favor of subscribing to this channel. Thank you all very much. And now, let's talk football. We kick off our action in the EPL this week with Brighton at home against 4th place Chelsea. Now, Brighton knocked Chelsea out of the FA Cup last weekend as these two teams played each other in the 4th round. Chelsea took a lucky lead in that game before conceding 2 very well-worked goals by Brighton, and that ended Chelsea's run in this year's fuck-up. Both teams' recent form in the Premier League has been a little bit inconsistent. Brighton have lost their last 2 games, firstly at home 1-0 to Everton, and then getting absolutely demolished 7-0 away at Nottingham Forest. That's why I think they gave that extra importance to getting a good result in the FA Cup last weekend to help them really shake off that losing feeling. And considering it was Chelsea that they beat in the FA Cup, that will definitely fuel their confidence that they can get something out of this game as well. Chelsea beat West Ham 2-1, luckily, in their last Premier League game, and before that they lost 3-1 away to Man City. I don't think there'll be too many tears shed after their elimination from the FA Cup, as surely qualifying for next year's Champions League is a much higher priority for Chelsea. They are currently only 2 points clear of 5th place Man City, and will be doing their very best to take the 3 points from this game as well. That is much easier said than done though. And I actually think that a draw in this game is a more likely result than either side winning it. But I do see goals in this game. The last 4 times these two teams have played each other have produced over 2.5 goals in each game, as well as both teams scoring. And this weekend, I very much see that trend continuing. It might be a bit tighter though, because I think Chelsea will field a stronger lineup than they did in the FA Cup. So instead of going overs as usual, I'm simply going to predict both teams to score in this game. It should be a very entertaining game. Both teams do like to play open football, and we should see a few goals in this one, but ultimately I personally think it will end up in a score draw. My prediction is for both teams to score between Brighton and Chelsea. Our next game is between 2 teams at opposite ends of the table, as Leicester, deep down in the relegation zone, are hosting a 2nd place Arsenal. Thankfully for Leicester, they got knocked out of the FA Cup last weekend, so now they can concentrate solely on surviving in the Premier League. They've lost 3 of their last 4 Premier League games, playing against mid-table sides like Crystal Palace, Fulham, and even Everton as well. Their only win came against the ever unreliable, or reliable, depends on how you view them, Tottenham Hotspur. They've got their work cut out for them this weekend as they face an Arsenal side that has won the last 6 meetings between these two teams, and who also got relieved of future FA Cup games as they were knocked out by Newcastle last weekend as well.
Yeah, boy.
But after that 5-1 hammering of Manchester City in their last game, the Gunners will be confident and keen to bag the 3 points from this game and keep their title hopes alive as long as possible. And as much as Leicester may want and try and need to get something out of this game, I can't see it happening. I'm sorry, Leicester. I can see Arsenal cutting up the Leicester team in this game and bagging an easy win. But just to keep it a bit on the safer side for my prediction, I'm going for Arsenal simply to score at least 2 goals in this game. That's a really safe bet for me, I think. And I really think there's a good chance that this might actually be in one of my top 3 this weekend. But you'll just have to wait and see. Next, we're off to Craven Cottage in London as we have Fulham hosting 3rd place Nottingham Forest. Now, this game has all the ingredients for potentially a super exciting game with quite a few goals in it. Fulham, they're playing some really nice football and getting some really good results recently, and considering that they did beat Forest early on in the season, they will be very confident coming into this game at home. Forest, well, they enjoyed an extra week of rest to prepare for this game, and considering that in their last game they won 7-0, Fulham might have to be careful here. Forest have the second best away record in the league this season, and they'll be wanting to both close the gap on Arsenal and extend that gap between themselves and the 4th place Chelsea. Fulham seem to be quite happy sitting in 10th place right now, and I just don't think they're really going to have the same motivation coming into this game as Nottingham Forest will. Fulham lost their last home game to Manchester United, and I mean, come on. If you're losing at home to Manchester United, you're probably going to lose at home to Forest as well, aren't you? Forest will also be trying to make up for that disastrous last away game where they lost 5-0 away to Bournemouth. And I think that extra rest plus the extra motivation in this game will be a key factor in this game. And that's why I'm predicting a Nottingham Forest away win against Fulham this weekend. It might be a tight game, or there actually might be a lot of goals in it. Either way, I'm simply predicting an away win for Nottingham Forest. I just think the Gibbs-White-Chris Woods combination is going to prove too much and more decisive than the Iwobi-Jimenez combination in this game. Let me know your thoughts on any of these 3 games down in the comments. Will Arsenal and Nottingham keep pace, or maybe even close the gap on league leaders Liverpool this weekend? Let me know your thoughts. Next up, we have 5th place hosting 6th place, as Man City are hosting United. Not Manchester United, of course.
Manchester United.
This week at the Etihad Stadium, it's Manchester City hosting Newcastle United. Now, this game is going to be a belter. Both teams come into this game on 41 points. Both teams have amazing attackers and players up front and in form. And both teams, well, they have pretty average defenses, to be honest. This sounds like a perfect storm scenario to me, and I think we're in for a real treat here. Man City, well, they were kept humble by a rampant and much more clinical and just generally better Arsenal in their last game. And Newcastle, they surprised us all by being on the wrong end of a 2-1 scoreline at home against Fulham. These two teams played out a 1-1 draw at St James's Park early on in the season, and to be honest, a similar result would not be the biggest surprise of the round this week. I personally don't think it will end up as a 1-1 draw, as I see more goals being scored in this game. And I'm very tempted just to go for both teams to score here, but I just worry about each team's consistency and maybe the possibility of one team turning up and the other one having a really bad day at the office and just getting hammered. So I think instead for this game, I'm going to predict over 2.5 goals. I think City should get the win here, to be honest, but for my prediction, I'm just going to stick with over 2.5 goals. Next up, we have the league leaders Liverpool, and they're hosting a 17th place Wolverhampton. Now, is there anyone out there who seriously think that the Wolves have got a chance in this game? Let me know in the comments, anyone out there who thinks Wolves have any chance of causing an upset in this game. Because if you do, my friend, then you're not alone. I too have got a sneaky feeling about this game. It's one of those games where, you look at it and it looks super predictable and the winner just seems obvious, right? But for me, something's just not sitting right with this game. Yes, Liverpool, they're huge favourites to get the win here, but I've just got a sneaky feeling that Wolverhampton are going to make this game a lot harder than most people realise. I can see Wolves scoring in this game and forcing Liverpool to maybe get the win by producing a moment of individual brilliance by Mo Salah or possibly Salah or maybe even Salah to get the win here. He's just got that Midas touch right now. So I think for this game, I'm just going to keep it safe, not predict any winner, and I'm just going to go for over 2.5 goals. I mean, if Liverpool do play well and they turn it on, they could probably win 3 or 4-0 anyway. But my gut feeling is that Wolverhampton will have their say on this game as well. So my prediction for Liverpool versus Wolverhampton Wanderers is for over 2.5 goals. And please let me know in the comments, do you just think I'm absolutely batshit loco for thinking that Wolves have got a chance in this game? And our final game from the EPL this weekend is between two sides battling it out for the right to proclaim themselves as the most disappointing and underperforming team of the season. That's right, we have the consistently inconsistent Tottenham Hotspur hosting a Manchester very un-United. It's 13th versus 14th in the table, and look, really, to be honest, whoever wins this game doesn't really matter, does it? I mean, neither team's even remotely closing to winning the title this year, and they're actually much closer to being relegated, if anything, but I don't see that happening for either side either. I'm trying to find a reason to be able to even feign interest in this game, to be honest, guys. I mean, these teams are both rubbish this year. I mean, they occasionally produce a flash in the pan and get a surprisingly good result, but ultimately, and far more often than not, both these teams have been utterly disappointing. And I think they'll both continue to disappoint again this week, except hopefully in terms of entertainment value for all the neutrals and football lovers out there, and for me, because my prediction is going to be simply for over 2.5 goals in this game. Both teams will probably score in this game, both teams' defences will probably let them down in this game, and both teams will once again fail to live up to their expectations. Whoever wins this game, I don't care. I'd love to know your opinion. Which of these two teams is having the worst season so far to date? Is it Tottenham Hotspur or Man U? Let me know in the comments. Y ahora, vamos a España. As I predicted in last week's video, after the draw in Madrid derby and Barcelona smashing Sevilla, the top three in Spain are now all separated by just 1 point from each other. Will this weekend bring a new league leader? Let's hope so. Let's have a look at who the top three are playing and make some predictions on those games. Starting off first with the very worst of the lot, at least in my, very impartial opinion, it's Real Madrid travelling to Pamplona to hopefully get run over by the Bulls. It's Real Madrid travelling to Pamplona to play and hopefully get beaten by 9th placed Osasuna. Madrid saw their temporary lead at the top of the table cut to shreds at the weekend as they drew against Atletico, and Barcelona smashed another hapless La Liga opponent in the southern-based side, Sevilla. Any more points dropped by Ancelotti's boys will not go unpunished, and this weekend hopefully that punishment. Osasuna, they're playing well at the moment. They're undefeated in their last 3 games, and in that 4th game they only lost 1-0 away to Atletico Madrid, and they actually have the 5th best home record in La Liga this season. I mean, they're better at home than Barcelona. So even though Madrid have traditionally been able to get quite easy wins in this fixture over the last few years, based on Osasuna's current form, plus the fact that Madrid have a Champions League game against Man City to deal with during the week, and on top of that, they still have several key defenders out with injuries, I think that Osasuna may be able to hold out for a draw in this one. Or is that just wishful thinking? Either way, I feel that the safest prediction for this game is that Vini Jr. will throw another tantrum, and that both teams will score. Madrid's defense really hasn't been up to scratch for quite some time now, and I can see them playing maybe with a few tired legs after the midweek Champions League affairs, so I'm sticking for this game with both teams to score. Next up, we have Atletico Madrid hosting an inspired Celta Vigo after they came back from 2 goals down last weekend to beat Real Betis in a 3-2 thriller. Atletico Madrid, as we all know, they're in 2nd place, and Celta Vigo are 12th in the table right now. I don't think, unfortunately, this week's game is going to be as exciting as Celta's last game was, as I can see Atletico playing their usual pragmatic and dogged style of defensive play, setting their team up not to concede any goals and then just try and snatch a goal on the counter-attack or maybe from a set play. This Celta side, they actually do score quite a lot of goals normally when they're playing away from home. I think actually this season there's only 2 games when they haven't scored away from home. Well, 3 if you count this weekend's game. Because that's right, I can see Atletico Madrid just doing the bare minimum necessary to get the 3 points here and coming away with a pretty uninspiring, maybe 1-0 win, just as they have actually in their last 2 encounters between these 2 teams. I actually hope I'm wrong here because I don't see this as being a particularly interesting or even exciting game, to be honest. But for my prediction, I'm just going to keep it simple and go for an Atletico Madrid home win. I will be very happy if I get this wrong and both Atletico and their city rivals drop points and Barcelona come out on top of the Liga at the end of this weekend's games. We'll come to that in just a second, but my prediction for Atletico Madrid against Celta Vigo is for an Atletico Madrid boring win at home. And as always, saving the very best till last, we have Barcelona at home playing against Rayo Vallecano up in 6th place. 6th place? What do you mean in 6th place? How did they get up there? Either way, any team playing against this Barcelona right now is in for a long evening. The boys in Blaugrana are really firing on all cylinders, and I don't think they'll have too many problems overcoming Rayo Vallecano this weekend. Lewandowski, he just can't stop scoring right now. He's already on 19 goals for the season. I mean, and with the likes of Rafinha, Yamal and Lopez all in amazing form, I wouldn't be surprised to see the big Pole add a few more goals to his tally this weekend. Rayo Vallecano, their season's coming along very nicely for them, and if they keep playing this well, they might just qualify for a European spot next season. They're now on a run of 9 games without a loss in La Liga, and that does include some notable draws at home to Real Madrid and also away to Villarreal as well. So they might just have a game plan to put a dent in Barca's title run this weekend. Only time will tell. But for me, I'll be predicting a Barcelona home win with over 2.5 goals in this game. Not so much because I think Barca's just going to absolutely slaughter this team, although they might, but instead for the fact that I think Vallecano might be able to actually get a goal or 2 in this game, but I still see Barca getting the 3 points here. And now my top 3 safest predictions for this weekend's games. In number 3, I'm going for over 2.5 goals between Manchester City at home to Newcastle United. My second favourite prediction is for Arsenal to score at least 2 goals away against Leicester, and my number 1 prediction for this weekend is for both teams to score between Brighton and Chelsea. Let me know your thoughts on these 3 picks, plus your own top 3 predictions down in the comments. And now for my juicy mega multi for this weekend. Now this multi is going to be made up of 4 games where I'm going to be predicting both teams to score in each of those games, and I'm going to be predicting the winner in those games as well. So the first game will be between Brighton and Chelsea, and in this game I'm predicting a Chelsea win and both teams to score. The second game is Manchester City versus Newcastle again, and I'll be predicting a Manchester City win with both teams to score in that game. The third game is also from the EPL, and this is Nottingham Forest beating Fulham away, once again with both teams to score. And the final game is coming from the Liga, where I see Real Madrid beating Osasuna, and again with both teams scoring. That is my 4-legged juicy multi for this weekend, and just like last weekend's juicy multi, this one will either land or be very close as well, but you gotta be in it to win it, guys. That's all for this week, guys. I hope you've enjoyed the video and my predictions. If you have, please do me the favor to hit that like and subscribe button and share this channel with all your footballing mates. It would mean a lot to me. Will Barcelona go top of the table? Will Man City break back into the top 4? And will Wolverhampton take some surprise points away from Anfield this weekend? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And until next time, everyone, enjoy the football, have a great week, and I'll see you all again very soon.